You're adventurous and you love to travel, so you'd love to ride a tall adventure bike like me. But well, you've heard all the sub 6 foot cliches. Are adventure bikes marketed for tall people, leaving us vertically challenged riders on the likes of a Honda CB500X? Let's take a deep dive into the heights of adventure bikes and use one of the best adventure bikes on the market, my Honda Africa Twin, and see if it's just too tall for most of us to ride. There's no question adventure bikes are tall. The standard seat height of the R1250 GS Adventure, arguably the most popular bike in the category, is just over 35 inches. Its biggest competitor, KTM's 1290 Super Adventure R, is 35 inches. At 34.3 inches, the standard seat height of my 2021 Africa Twin Adventure Sports is nearly 3/4 of an inch lower than the BMW and KTM. That's still very tall for those of us that are called shorty on occasion. But why are adventure bikes so tall? Even though the enormous size of these bikes makes it easier to market them as a go-anywhere, do-anything machine, it's not the marketing that makes them so tall. Adventure bikes have to combine a lot of specs so they can do what they are designed to do. Long travel suspension, higher ground clearance, and a big front wheel make these bikes off-road beasts. And yeah, well, these features also make adventure bikes tall. Some shorter riders lower their adventure bikes by installing shorter suspension. This does lower the seat height, but it also compromises off-road capability. Adventure bikes are also good for long-distance travel. This requires a large fuel tank. Imagine if an adventure bike with a large tank had a frame designed for a lower seat height. Most riders would have their chin gripping the tank instead of their knees. Upright ergonomics also make adventure bikes great for long distance. Imagine how comically uncomfortable an adventure bike would look if the seat height was much lower. So yeah, we established that adventure bikes are tall, but are they too tall for shorter riders? Let's put this into context. Avert your eyes while I make it look like I'm using this tape measure for something other than its intended purpose. There you have it, a 32-inch inseam. What does that mean for my desire to ride the Dalton Highway on an off-road capable adventure bike? Well, let's put the AT suspension and seat height in its highest possible settings. This video isn't about settings on the AT. If you want to know how to do this, I have a video link in the comments section that you can click on for more information. Okay, the seat and the suspension is set high. Now, of course, my weight will compress the suspension a little bit. Now, I'm your average Joe, both name and with my height and weight. I'm about 5'9", 160 pounds. Now, if you've been following this channel at all for a long time, you may notice that 10-pound weight gain. Despite my weight gain, I'm not that heavy, but I can still compress the suspension enough to lower it a bit. Make note of that for later in this video. Now I'm wearing the Forma Adventure boots. This is a popular boot for guys riding adventure bikes, so nothing too out of the ordinary here. With the suspension set high and the seat set high, I'm able to tippy-toe. Not be able to get my heels down, but I am able to tippy-toe. The unlated seat height in the high position is 34.3 inches. Honda heard the cries of those who wanted a lower seat height on the Africa Twin. So since 2020, we got what we wanted. This seat has a low seat height. Now the low seat height is about 3/4 of an inch lower than the standard seat height. Not much, but enough to take me from tippy-toe to nearly flat footing. Not low enough for you? Well, Honda's got you covered. Here is the low seat height that fits the Honda Africa Twin, both the standard and the Adventure Sports for the 2020 and 2021 models. Side by side, you can see a noticeable height difference between the standard and low seat. Let's get this on the bike and see the difference. Honda claims the difference is about an inch lower. I'll put this in the lowest setting, which has a seat height of 32.5 inches. Well, would you look at that? Flat footing. Great, right? Well, like a lot of things in life, there are some compromises. You can clearly see a height difference between the standard and the low seat height. The only way they can get this seat lower is to remove some cush for your tush. The standard seat's already uncomfortable enough. What do you think it's going to be like with the low seat? Numb butt, that's what it's going to be like. Using the lower seat also puts you lower on the bike, where you're no longer at eye level with the windshield. You are now looking through it rather than over it where you should be. So I'll ask again, is the Africa Twin too tall? The answer is emphatically yes. Here's a plot twist. all adventure bikes are too tall. Here's a double plot twist. You shouldn't let that stop you from riding your dream bike. If the girl of your dreams is 3 inches taller than you wouldn't tell her to f off, would you? No, you'd figure out a way to make it work. You should do the same thing with your dream bike. Let's get on the bike and I'll show you a few tricks I use while city riding. Come spring, I'll do another version of this for off-road riding. While riding an adventure bike, balance is key. Sitting forward in the seat towards the tank will create better weight distribution on the bike between the front and rear suspension. This will lead to better handling and better balancing. Sitting forward also lets you grip the bike with your legs against the tank and your feet against the frame. Using your legs and feet removes all the tension in your upper body. It puts you in the relaxed upper body position you should be riding in. If you're not already doing this, try it yourself. Riding like this will allow you to ride longer, more comfortably, and open up a new riding technique for you. Most importantly, you'll have better control of the bike. Okay, I get it. The reason you're really here is because you're worried about being able to put your feet down while coming to a stop. The riding position I just told you about will give you more control over your bike, and you can manage it better at slow speeds. Use this riding position to create better techniques to balance the bike near stoplights and in heavy traffic. With better slow speed maneuvering techniques, you won't need to put your feet down as much. What if you actually need to stop and put your feet down to balance the bike? Try this instead. When coming to a stop, put just your left foot down while leaning the bike slightly towards the left, keeping your right foot on the peg. Do you feel like the bike's still high and you can't put a solid foot down? Try this. Remember how I said earlier how my body weight adjusts the height of the suspension based on where I'm sitting on the bike? Use this to your advantage and shift your entire body back in the seat. This will compress the rear suspension more. Lowering the suspension just allowed you to flat foot. I hope at the very least I've convinced you that the vertically challenged, like me, can ride tall adventure bikes. If you found this video helpful, you might find this video helpful as well.